To paraphrase the old saying, judge a person not by how they treat their superiors, but by how they treat those they are responsible for. Professor Poutine here. Time for Mysteries Histories. With that in mind, let me pose a question to you. What is going on with the U.S. Department of Defense? And it's the Department of Defense, not the Department of War, because Congress didn't change the name. You can have all the photo ops you want, screwing in little panels on the side of the building. Still the Department of Defense. The Department of Defense seems absolutely hell-bent at whitewashing American history, U.S. military history, and going seemingly in the direction of openly allowing discrimination. Two news stories that you may have missed in the last week. One, there were two panels commemorating black soldiers who fought for the liberation of the Netherlands in the U.S. Army in a cemetery in Margraten in the Netherlands. Those were removed by the U.S. Department of Defense. Now, these black soldiers not only fought for their country, but they had to fight discrimination at the hands of the Nazis and discrimination at the hands of their own government, because often they were put in support roles, they weren't given combat roles and so on, because of the fact that they were black, and yet they still did their duty as veterans. The Department of Defense has removed those panels because they say, quote, it no longer fits with the narrative of the U.S. military. How does commemorating U.S. veterans not fit with the narrative of the commemorative mission of the U.S. military? And while we're on the subject of that, the Coast Guard last week put out a memo saying that commanders and Coast Guard officers and sailors should be careful with certain tattoos and certain displays. Things like putting up nooses or swastikas, because according to the Coast Guard memo, quote, they are potentially divisive symbols. Potentially divisive? How in God's name is a swastika potentially divisive? It's only potentially divisive if somebody thinks it's a good idea. And no one thinks that's a good idea. Who is in charge of the Department of Defense right now? And why would he think these are good ideas? Oh, right. This guy. Well, just because he's got a tattoo on his chest that has been associated with the Crusades, which led to the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Muslims and Jews at the hands of Christian invaders, and has been widely associated with white nationalism, doesn't mean that, never mind. Consider yourself updated.